Welcome to England. It's well, as expected, grey, cold, wet, windy, murky, horrible shite. That's alright, I've got Zwift. Yeah, so what I'm going to try and ascertain today is whether or not you can race on Zwift, win that race, and at the same time put together a formally structured training session. Yeah, so the session that I'm going to try and do today while racing is a sprint / anaerobic workout. So I'm going to try and follow the graph here. So ultimately there wants to be red spikes where I'm sprinting, followed by recovery in zone 2, red spike, recovery, red spike, recovery, consistently. So no sort of, you know, ziggy zaggy, it just needs to follow the graph down here. And if I can do that and win a race, you know, it's a win-win, literally. Right, we are off. So yeah, first of all, I don't know, sometimes in these races, I think it's actually calmed down a bit now. Zwift races, people don't go as hard from the gun. But I haven't been racing that much recently on Zwift, so I went out at about 500 watts, which is obviously, you know, a reasonable amount of power, but immediately, you know, 16 seconds in, it's sort of settled down, which is quite nice actually. So that means the first, I can actually attack the first ramp, as opposed to laying off it, because I thought the start might, you know, the start of the race might, you know, take a minute or so to settle down, in which case it would have taken me, you know, I wouldn't have been able to recover in time to hit the first ramp hard. But yeah, as it stands, you know, I've recovered. My heart rate monitor is now working. Yeah, so 154 for me is pretty reasonably comfortable. Yeah, and we're all sort of settled in. No one's going too crazy too early. Yeah, but here comes the first ramp, cobbles. So yeah, open it up. Yeah, I'll get up there first. Very much doubt anyone else is employing the same tactic as me today, i.e., you know, training as well as racing. Just trying to, you know, ascertain whether or not they're compatible. So now, ideally, I want to drop into, you can see the graph on the bottom where you've got the red spike. I need that to drop down. I need it to be blue, because that indicates that I'm riding at zone 2. Green, and green is zone 3, yellow is zone 4, so that threshold. And, you know, the red is obviously in the red, so anaerobic in that case for me. So yeah, at the moment a little bit spiky, but my heart rate is starting to calm down. And yeah, now I sort of start mixing it up with the pack, hiding in the wheels, which is nice. Yeah, the power-ups actually caused a bit of an issue. I haven't got one at the moment. I thought, actually, because I wasn't really looking at power-ups, but I thought that they weren't, they hadn't been activated for this race. I thought, you know, it's just a no power-up race, which is fine by me. I quite like the fact that everything's even, because an aero power up at the end of a race like this is the difference between winning and coming last, basically, if it's a bunch sprint. So yeah, at the moment I've got nothing, but I'm sort of frantically having a look around on my ZWIFT companion app to try and operate this race remotely. If I do get a power up, I don't want to have to reach over to the computer and press a button. I want to be able to tap it on my phone, but I can't find that. Right, here's the next one. A bit of a slow start. See if I can catch this fella up front. I'm pretty sure this guy goes for it. He's giving it large, 10.4 watts per kilo. He hit, which was so it was a chap in third, A-back Hansa. He went up that very quickly, sub 17 seconds. There he is, Danish guy. And now that sort of gives us a chance to chill out a bit. As you can see, between the two, on the graph at the bottom, between the two red spikes, it was predominantly green and blue. I really want to make that as blue as possible in order to, make this a productive training session. Because the more power I can force out on those ramps, the more benefit I'll get. I don't really want to, you can see here my heart rate's 170. So I need, by the time we get to the end, to the bottom of the ramp again, I need to be in the 140s or the 150s in order to, it won't be fully recovered, but, I'll be able to put in a good dig again. So, yeah, but, at the moment we're taking it fairly easy, which is nice. You can see, watts per kilo, we're sort of 2.5 to 3.5 at the moment, which is pretty nice. And there you can see I've got a power up now. If memory serves, I'm trying to activate it, or trying to find a way to activate it even. So I think I'll fall out the back of this group. Maybe not. Right, here comes the third effort. Now, I think... No, yeah, I get up that one okay. Did I make 800 watts? I'm not sure. But yeah, right, first up there. And the Danish chap again, A-back Hansen, is not far behind me. And they've all got their aero drafts on, leaving me sort of frantically pedalling to try and stay in the draft. 410 watts. Yeah, so the power between those two spikes then, again, predominantly green, not ideal, but, it seems to be manageable. $178 beats per minute, pretty high. Finding this bit though, this sort of section here where you come through the finish gantry, from the finish gantry to the bottom of the ramp, you can get a good bit of recovery, and with this particular ride on this particular race. Sometimes I've entered A races here where my heart rate has been permanently in the 180s, because yeah, it's just absolutely relentless. But this is pretty chilled, so I guess, you know, entering, I think a lot of it depends on what time of the day you enter as well, because, you know, this is at lunchtime and people don't necessarily, you know, want to empty themselves at lunchtime. I don't know. For me, I tend to save the hardest training for the end of the day, for the evening. Some people prefer, I don't know how they do it, but some people do their intervals and hard efforts early in the morning, you know, sort of get up at 5-6 o'clock and do either a really hard running session or a really hard bike, you know, indoors. Don't know how they do it, you know, hats off to them. But on the same token, you know, some people don't understand how I can do evening work. But yeah, I think I come unclipped here. Yeah, because I slow right down. Yeah, so I missed out a bit there. Still managed to get over the line nicely. Still well intact with the bunch. I think, yeah, looking at the map, I think there's probably about 10 of us in this group. 10, 12 maybe. You know, with a total of 26 in the race. It's quite a well-populated race for this time of the day. But I guess, you know, it's a crit city race and they're always quite short. You know, you get a lot of bang for your buck for these races, especially if you're doing what I'm doing, which is try and incorporate in a training session into it. So if you look at the power between the last two spikes, power spikes, it's more blue than green, which is good. But there are a couple of sort of sharp red bits in there where I've sort of had to put the pressure down slightly to, I don't know, stay in the bunch, I guess. Heart rate dropping quite nicely. I'll clock it at the start of the ramp. I'm not sure if I get, oh look, I've just hit the drafting boost. I think with a view to see if I can, next time I go over the line, to get the aero boost, because that's the one you need if you're going to contest a sprint. If other people have got an aero boost and you haven't, you can pretty much, unless you've got ridiculously high power, you can pretty much say ta-ta to the win, which is ultimately what I want to do here. I want to try and get the training session in and win. You know, that's the aim of this session. So 156 beats per minute at the start of the ramp, 155, it's all right. Let's see what we see the beats per minute when we get to the top. So I managed to, you know, hitting some reasonable numbers there. And then 171, but you see I'm in oxygen deficit. My heart rate's up into the 180s, 181. Still 181, 182. Recovery. Sort of soft pedaling now, waiting for them to catch me up. And now I've got to put on a little spurt to you know, infiltrate the bunch again. And it's quite these rollers, they don't offer a huge amount of respite. Still 181 heart rate. Yeah, you can see between the last two spikes of power. Yeah, it's sort of a mix, a little bit of a mix. You know, not great. You know, I prefer a smooth line, but that's sort of a little bit spiky, really. Not ideal. Okay, so if you look between the power and the bar at the top of the screen, I've just got an aero power up, which is exactly what I need to win. So I'm going to save that. The only problem is I've got to stop pedaling, lean over to my computer, press the space bar, and then continue my sprint. And this is when people are sort of, you know, revving up their own sprints. So yeah, it's going to really going to take the momentum out of any pace I had going. But yeah, but this is the last effort. I'm going to hit the ramp at. Oh, my heart rate's dropped quite nicely to 152. Yeah, so I'm going to hit this ramp with one last anaerobic effort. The power between the last two spikes again very spiky. Not too bad. All in, I'd pretty much take it. I know it's not the sort of thing it's not the sort of class that you can sort of an earth mode. But everything would be red, blue, red, not terrible, but the fact that I'm waiting and trying to incorporate an anaerobic training session into it. But I guess a lot of ZWIFT racing's like that anyway, but you've got to choose the right course. There's no point in choosing a flat course. Well, I suppose you could, you know. But yeah, for me, there's just a bit more impetus to, you know, hit the ramp hard than hit a flat section hard. And these are always a good length as well, these races. So last time up the climb, just make sure I stay with them. Loads of guys are using a feather. That's good. That basically means they're not going to be contending the sprint. I'll see Morris is now the prime KOM with 16:03. That's quick. Right, so a lot of guys are using their aero power-ups as well. Right, heart rate 182, 0.6 kilometres left, 600 metres. Still got that aero power up there. So I'm going to wait to about for 300 odd metres to go. I'm going to have to stop pedalling, lean over, press the space bar, then continue the sprint. And you'll see when I've activated it, because, yeah, there we go, I've activated it. So, time to start sprinting. Come then, man, sprint. No, it says I'm in third there, fifth, third, fifth, fourth. So, yeah, so a second behind C. Morris. Yeah, so I had, although I didn't win, I actually came fourth on Zwift Power. So yeah, fairly happy with that, and the fact that I couldn't activate my power up without stopping pedalling did not help. I may have won if it wasn't for that, but who cares. Yeah, the fact that I could sprint on each lap having been fully recovered makes that, in my opinion, a pretty good anaerobic session. So why not give it a go yourself? See if you can do the downtown Dolphin Loop, win it, and try and make your graph as blue and red as possible.